Six People is an indie horror visual novel. The premise of the game is that you, the player, is riding the subway with five other people. The train suddenly stops and you, with the characters in the train, are all left wondering what happened. God, I can't see anything. This game is short, its runtime is at minimum 10 minutes, at most barely 20. The game description does say that it's part of a series of games in the future that never came to be, unfortunately. The mystery of what happened to the developer or any update regarding a promise for a couple of sequels to make a connecting story is never answered. Overall, this game was short as hell, just like this review, and offered up a promising story with the potential that was never reached. DriftWood, on the other hand, looked like a visual novel with the features that come with being a visual novel, from the music, sound effects, plot, characters, and their motivations. The game starts with the character you'll be playing, Marcus Fike, and his date with the girl of his dreams. While on this romantic date in the city of Boston, a bank robbery was taking place, and coincidentally, the robbers bumped into our character, which then leads him to getting shot. Oh my god. Thankfully, with the power of plot, Marcus survives, but his romantic relationship never recovers. And what I mean is that the girl is alive, but the girl's parents decided to get the fuck out of Boston, to a place with lesser crime rate, which Marcus' parents also decided to do the same. But in a place called Martha's Vineyard, just south of Boston, or way south. The game has interesting dialogue that truly makes the characters glow or give them a personality of their own that differs from the other characters. But I think that's just about it. Enough with the positive chit chat. Moving on to the game's flaws, which is the feel, of playing the game. It felt and looked painfully generic. Now don't get me wrong with how the game presents itself, but the colors make it look, a little bit dull. The lacking of sound effects in some parts of the game lessens the impact of what the scene or story is trying to tell. I also hated the opening act of the game, which shows a buffet of words that tells us the player who Marcus is, instead of visually telling or showing us. And now I don't want to be an asshole, but the word visual in visual novel needs to be addressed more with games that just opt out with paragraphs of words with no visuals to back it up. I also argued the pacing felt off. From how fast the prologue was or how slow paced the next act is, I have no problems with the visual novel being slow. So I've played a game like that, No More Future, which is an example of the amount of words I have to read, which thank God they rewrote it to make the game not feel as if we're reading the actual novel word per character. What I was saying is that a game should give the player an expectation, fast, slow, or pacing just right. Now those pacings that I've just said doesn't really matter if done right. Example, from the beginning of the game, maybe they could have fleshed out more of who Marcus is and the scene and the parts where the bank robbery happens and how crushed he was with the whole ordeal of his romantic relationship just starting and ending just as fast as it started. Maybe we could have, stayed there a little bit more. I'm not asking for 30 minutes of that, maybe a little bit 5 or 10 minutes to just really feel the impact of what Marcus was feeling or his emotions at that time. You know what I'm saying? But hey, at least we get this cool opening. Alright, our next visual novel is another mixed bag, and unfortunately it deserves a mixed review. Highschool Otome, a visual novel. The game's main character is Sabrina, teenage Sabrina over here, high school. She has a troubled relationship with her grandmother, and she finds out horrible news about her grandmother's health. So we go through the story experiencing Sabrina's life and the characters she'll interact throughout the game. The good parts of the game, I'll do this quick because I only played this like 20 minutes, like spam clicking it. I'll get to the reason why. So the good parts of the game, I'm checking it right now. Technicalities, game has music, sound effects, what else? Other characters, some good writing in between. I said in between, not the whole game. So lastly, the choices matter. Whoever we pick throughout the game, it will lead up to whoever Sabrina will be with romantically. The rest of the people, I guess she'll be friends with. They'll be friend zoned. But yeah, going to the bad parts of the game and why it's mixed. It's how it's written. Playing the game felt like a chore, and visually it looked bland, so that didn't really help. The sounds are cheap at best. The characters need a redesign or maybe a bit more polishing. Because once again, I told you, visually it doesn't look stunning. It felt like your cookie cut out of what a visual novel should have or could have. It's like, here's an example of a visual novel that has the features of a visual novel. But it's not a visual novel that I would rate 8 out of 10 or 9. 5 is where it's at, unfortunately. So, it has potential. Maybe if a remaster came through, a complete rewrite, sadly. But yeah, I'll be seeing everybody to the next review, Paranormal Teens. Ooh. Now I said Paranormal Teens? You heard me correctly. We have several characters in this wacky visual novel. Frank, the TV host of this paranormal TV show. Tina, the voodoo girl? Shaman? I don't know. Sissy, the psychic. Zalia, the demonologist. Brett, the paranormal investigator. Jose, a self-published author about alien abductions. Mike, a conspiracy theorist. Or conspiracy nut to be exact. Greg, the psychologist. The premise was promising, to say the least. And the game, technically speaking, it has visuals, choices that kinda matter. What else? The sound. Yeah, the sound. It's got some cheap, spooky sounds. That's like, it's loud as heck. So you'd be like shocked. Because you're gonna be like, oh, okay, I'm reading this visual novel. Oh, the background music is creepy, and then jump scare, but it's just the audio cue, not visual. There's no visual thing here, no scary ghost monster or anything. So we go out to haunted, paranormal, or alleged spooky sites because it's the Paranormal Teens, right? From Ghost Area 51 to a haunted mansion and to Tina's grandmother's house. And in the ending, which, here's what I'm gonna say, a demon. Whoa! So we can riz a character here. How do we riz them? How do we get a relationship out of them? Well, the game offers you options on who you want to go with to investigate these locations. Well, part of the locations, really. Like, do you want to go with Greg, Mike, and Jose or something like that? It depends on the order. But the ending brought the whole positives of this game, from promising to just downright sad. Waste of time, really. Maybe good for getting achievements for your Steam profile. But yeah, I told you about ghosts, aliens, all that wacky cool stuff, Could be cool, could be bad. But the ending pretty much solidifies that Zalia, the demonologist, religious nut, was right. Since the whole game, her explanation for these paranormal activities is summed up to demons. In the end of the game, there's this demon that's about to do some evil stuff to our lovable paranormal investigator, Greg. Oh wait, Greg? Did I say Greg? No, Brett. Sorry about that. Other than that, Brett over here prays, and the demon was like, "Oh, my weakness. One prayer." So yeah, that's pretty much the sum of the game. Oh yeah, after the game could potentially go and move forward with a different plot and story and all that shit. No, it just ends. The whole TV show just ends, and we get like a Paranormal Teens after, like from TLC, the Living Channel, and then we'll see who we end up with. And I picked Tina because she was bitchy the whole time, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny? Where her and her bitchiness about, Brett over here being a normie investigator, and then she'll end up with him. I was like, it's kind of funny. Overall, here's what I got to say about the whole game. Game had a promising start, rocky middle, anticlimactic ending. Now I've saved the worst for last. The game cover that kinda looked like being a dick, College Kings, and City of Broken Dreamers. Sunshine and Overcast is the worst visual novel out of all of them, and it wasn't something I expected based on what the game looked like. And the game I played the least. Starting up the game is boring enough, no background music, no sound effects, nothing. So you're just there in your complete, silence, sitting there clicking. The game offers something, at least, and that something is an adventure, where you can pick options that will progress the story or straight up end the game, like a trial and error game that the player hopes to pick the right choice so they could reach the end of the game's story. And the problem here is, if you pick a different option, it just straight up ends. Back to the title screen. Sorry, your option, if you want to progress the story, you should have picked the other options. Kind of something like that. The problem here is, it's like a game with a side quest because you picked a different option, right? It could be an optional option. But it just ends straight up. It doesn't lead anywhere. I'm saying is that the game is not trying to be bad. It's just bad. It's not only boring, generic, and does not hold a candle to the other visual novels in this video. This is the game that deserved its user reviews being mostly negative. Alright, that will be the end of this video, and you might be asking, what was the point of this video? Is it to watch AskLeepy play some shitty visual novels, or the ones that are... Listen, I'm not expecting a visual, a VN game to blow my mind away. As if it's directed by Christopher Nolan, whoa, or written by George R.R. Martin. I put my expectations low enough to not completely shit on these games or any content. But what I expect in a visual novel game that has at least a story, a really good one, to not only engage the person playing, but the characters that someone would connect to, whatever that connection be. And I guess that would be all. I'll be seeing you in a different video. Hopefully you have a good night's rest. Good night, I guess, or maybe good morning for the rest. Other than that, thank you for watching. See ya!